chosen one. The world wasn't ready, but now they must see you. There are moments in life when the silence becomes too loud, when the stillness begins to tremble with the weight of divine purpose, and when hidden greatness can no longer remain hidden. You, chosen one, have reached such a moment. The world may have once looked away. They may have turned their heads, ignored the signals, and walked past your presence without recognizing the fire you carried. But now, heaven has spoken again, and this time the voice is louder than thunder. Reveal them now. The world must see what I have prepared in secret. What was concealed is now being unveiled. What was misunderstood is now becoming the message. And you, yes, you are the one that will walk into the light, not just to shine, but to shift the very atmosphere of those around you. The waiting season has ended. The incubation is over. And just like that, the curtain is rising. Watch this video until the end, chosen one, and write in the comments your warmest wishes and the number 99. Let the universe feel your energy. Let the heavens see your agreement. This is a day for destiny to respond. Now, chosen one, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. You were never ordinary. Your silence had substance. Your absence had a purpose. What others perceived as weakness was sacred development. When they overlooked you, heaven was overseeing you. When they bypassed your brilliance, the divine was building your brilliance in secret. Every no that echoed in your past was a disguised yes from a higher order. You see, the world wasn't ignoring you by accident. They simply weren't equipped to witness your level of transformation. They weren't spiritually prepared to embrace your level of insight. They couldn't digest your truth because your truth was still marinating in divine timing. But the lock has turned and the timing has shifted. Now, what they once avoided, they will be drawn to. Now, the very voices that dismissed you will be echoing your name with curiosity, with admiration, even with repentance. They'll say, "Where did you come from?" But the truth is, you were always there behind the veil, growing roots while others chased fruits. While the world was busy celebrating what was trending, God was investing in what was timeless. You. Let this be the moment you stopped downplaying your brilliance. Let this be the moment you recognize that your journey was never a mistake. It was a masterpiece in progress. The world wasn't ready for you because you were being sculpted by divine hands. And those hands don't rush. Those hands are intentional, patient, wise. The delay wasn't denial, it was distinction. Because when God chooses to hide someone, it's never out of neglect, but out of necessity. Think about that. You were hidden to be protected, shielded from premature exposure, preserved from environments that couldn't sustain your calling. You were kept back, not because you were behind, but because you were ahead of your time. And now your time is catching up to your essence. Now your reflection is aligning with your assignment. You are no longer just a whisper in the wind. You are the message on the mountaintop. You are no longer a dream waiting to be awakened. You are the awakening. The announcement has been made in the spirit. The gate has opened, and what once held you back will now have no choice but to push you forward. You are not just entering the stage. You are becoming the stage. You are the event, the shift, the reason others will believe again. Your breakthrough isn't just for you. Your emergence is a chain reaction of possibility. When they see you, they'll remember what's possible. When they hear you, they'll begin to listen to the quiet voice within themselves that's been whispering, "You too were chosen." But you had to go first. You had to be hidden, misunderstood, walked away from. even doubted by the very people who once claimed to believe in you because your journey had to speak louder than their words. And now it will. Your silence was speaking. Your absence was loud. You were building in the dark what would one day lead others into the light. The gift you carry isn't a trend, it's a torch. And now you must carry it in full view. And chosen one, when you do, the same world that overlooked you will have no choice but to turn their gaze towards you. Not because you're asking for it, not because you're chasing approval, but because divine glory is undeniable. It reveals itself through transformed lives, unshakable peace, and irreversible breakthroughs. So don't shrink back now. Don't retreat into the shadows that once comforted your healing. You are not the same person who once feared the spotlight. You've been redefined in the wilderness, refined in the fire, and resurrected with revelation. They were not ready before, but now they must see you. They must see the resilience in your eyes. They must see the truth in your voice. They must feel the power in your presence. You are not here by accident. You are here by decree. You are heaven's strategy. And this time, the world won't just see you. They will witness what divine timing looks like in human form. You've been prepared in private for a public purpose. And no opposition, no gossip, no abandonment, no sabotage can stop what's been spiritually approved. Your name has been cleared in places you never even entered. Your voice has been requested in rooms you never knocked on. And now the invitation is coming from places that once blocked you. Because when heaven shifts the narrative, even your past must submit to your present power. So walk boldly, walk unapologetically, walk fully aware that you are not who you were. The former version of you has completed its assignment. The hidden you has served its purpose. Now, the world must witness the glory-carrying message, living, future-building you. Your existence is a signal, a shift, a sign. When you speak, systems will tremble. When you rise, others will follow. When you move, the atmosphere will agree. Chosen one, it was never about being ready for them. It was about them being ready for you. And now the divine timing has arrived. And nothing will stop what must be seen. Not now, not anymore. The world was not ready. Not for your voice, not for your vision, not for your vibration. And in truth, even you weren't ready at first. Not because you lacked talent, not because you weren't gifted, but because what was placed inside of you was too vast to be released prematurely. You carried a magnitude of power that would have overwhelmed spaces that hadn't yet evolved. Your inner truth was too bold for people who still lived behind the masks of comfort and conformity. You were crafted for disruption, holy disruption. You were born to be the wave that doesn't wait for permission to crash against the walls of limitation. That kind of energy, that kind of divine assignment takes time to be revealed. So heaven waited, not because it doubted you, but because it was setting the stage. Every delay, every detour, every season of hiding wasn't a punishment. It was a setup for visibility with purpose. Let's be honest, you didn't just wake up one day and arrive at this frequency. You were shaped by fire. You were shaped by silence. You were shaped by the storms no one saw. You were transformed not in the spotlight, but in the shadows where the sacred work gets done. While others were showcasing, you were surrendering. While they were performing for approval, you were aligning with destiny. And while they were busy being seen, you were becoming unshakable. That's why they can't compare to you now. They don't carry what you carry. They didn't pay the cost you paid. You didn't chase popularity. You endured preparation. You didn't seek fame. You sought truth. And that truth became your fire. That truth became your identity. That truth became your passport to this moment. This is your crossing season. This is the moment where the old you fades into memory, and the revealed you walks into the room with a presence that can't be ignored. You no longer have to explain who you are. You no longer have to argue for your value. The world must now adjust to your light, not the other way around. You have adjusted long enough. You've played small long enough. You've waited your turn, respected the process, and stayed quiet when your spirit was screaming. But no more. The moment has arrived, and you carry permission from heaven itself to be fully, boldly, and unapologetically seen. They will try to figure you out, but you are not for their formula. They will try to explain your rise, but your rise has no blueprint. They will try to copy your glow, but your glow came from groanings they never heard and tears they never touched. You are not a trend. You are not a phase. You are not a moment. You are a move of God in motion. You are what happens when the divine breathes through a human being who finally accepts their assignment. And yes, it will make them uncomfortable. Yes, some will walk away. Not everyone will celebrate your visibility. Some were attached to your invisibility. Some only loved you when you were quiet, when you were unsure, when you needed them. But now you've become the message. Now you've become the movement. And people who only knew how to survive in your old chapter will not know how to stand beside you in this one. Don't apologize for that. Don't mourn their exit. Every departure is direction. Every rejection is redirection. You are not losing. You are leveling. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. And what you're being positioned for is far greater than what you've left behind. This next phase of your life doesn't require your explanations. It requires your embodiment. It's not about proving anything. It's about living everything, fully, freely, fiercely. You are the living proof that timing is divine and that the seed will always grow if it's planted in purpose. So walk into the room as if heaven sent you, because it did. Speak as if the silence trained you, because it did. Shine as if your dimness expired, because it has. You're not here to blend in. You're here to blaze trails. You're not here to be accepted. You're here to be undeniable. You're not here to impress. You're here to embody. This is your era, not just a season, not just a moment, an era of elevation, an era of clarity, an era of bold, sacred visibility. The world will see you now, not because you forced it, but because the timing is divine. The vibration of your truth has reached its climax. The frequency of your purpose is now in full broadcast mode, and nothing and no one can mute what God has now chosen to amplify. So let them see, let them wonder, let them question how you carry what you carry. And as they watch, something in them will awaken too. Because you weren't just hidden for your sake. You were hidden so that when you emerge, others would find their permission through your presence. You are not just being seen for yourself. You are being seen for every soul still in hiding, still doubting, still wondering if their time will ever come. You are the evidence that yes, divine delay is not denial. You are the confirmation that what is real, what is purpose-born, will always rise. Chosen one. They will see you now. And what they see will shake them. What they see will change them. What they see will remind them of who they really are. You are not just rising. You are awakening generations. You are not just being revealed. You are resetting the room. You are not just glowing. You are igniting destinies. Let the world see you now fully, clearly, boldly, because heaven has spoken. The world wasn't ready, but now they must see. and see they shall. You see, chosen one, there are seasons in life when heaven orchestrates silence around your name, when your identity feels wrapped in mystery and the eyes of the world cannot quite focus on who you truly are. Not because you are without value, but because your value is still being sealed with power, your purpose still being aligned with divine timing, and your emergence still being dressed in the fullness of glory that will not be rushed. Not by circumstance, not by pressure, not by the impatience of others who could not understand your absence and mistook it as evidence that you were not meant to lead, not meant to rise, not meant to be remembered. But they were wrong, and heaven never forgot. And in that hidden place, in that sacred cocoon of invisibility, where it seemed like life was passing you by and others were being chosen ahead of you, doors opening for them, platforms given to them, applause directed toward them, you were being carved. You were being shaped with tools that this world cannot name in dimensions of spirit that cannot be understood by those who chase visibility over victory and spotlight over substance. You were not passed over, chosen one. You were being passed through the fires of purification, passed through the testing of isolation, passed through the corridors of divine intelligence that knew precisely what kind of leader you would become, what kind of vessel you would need to be, and what level of spiritual maturity your calling would require. And that is why you are not permitted to rise before the appointed time, because this rising is not ordinary. It is generational. It is prophetic. It is seismic. Now the world stands at the edge of a moment it never saw coming, and the very vibration of creation has started to respond to your emergence, not with noise, not with chaos, but with stillness that signals something holy is approaching. The winds are shifting, the energy is moving. You can feel it in the conversations that suddenly revolve around you, in the eyes that suddenly cannot look away, in the opportunities that begin to knock, not because you chase them, but because you became the door they've been waiting to open. It is not your ego they're drawn to. It is your essence. It is not your charm. It is your charge. There is a divine signature over your life that even the spiritually blind are beginning to sense. Though they may not know what it is, they only know something in you is different. Something in you is ancient and futuristic at once. Something in you calls their soul forward, even if their mind doesn't understand why. You are not simply being seen. You are being remembered by the universe itself. And it's not just the world that must see you now. It is also you. Because for too long, even you have questioned the weight of your assignment. Even you have wondered if perhaps you were mistaken, if maybe the visions were too big, the call too impossible, the isolation too harsh to be anything other than punishment. But deep in your soul, deeper than logic, deeper than fear, you have always known that you carry something eternal, something royal, something wild and sacred that refuses to be tamed by small expectations or buried beneath the opinions of those who never saw the light in you clearly enough to protect it. The truth is, they didn't understand you because you were not created to be understood by everyone. You were created to awaken something in others that was asleep. You were created to unlock frequencies in people that religion, culture, and trauma had suppressed. You were created to reintroduce the world to a version of divinity it had forgotten, not through perfection, but through presence. And now, everything in your life, every heartbreak, every delay, every private conversation with God, where you questioned whether you had the strength to continue, it all leads to this moment where the mantle becomes visible, where the mission can no longer be hidden, where your very existence becomes a mirror to those who have forgotten who they are. You are a mirror chosen one, a walking revelation, a spiritual reminder in human form. When you rise, others begin to remember their wings. When you speak, something begins to stir in their souls. When you simply walk in your truth without apology or explanation, without watering it down to make others comfortable, those who are ready will rise with you, and those who are not will fall away, not because of anything you did wrong, but because your presence exposes the false and reveals the truth. You are not designed to blend in. You are designed to break cycles. You are not assigned to be accepted. You were assigned to challenge what people have accepted as normal. And that is why they couldn't handle you before. Your presence rattled cages. Your ideas cracked ceilings. Your energy made the stagnant parts of others feel seen. And instead of embracing you, they retreated. Instead of celebrating your light, they hid in their shadows. But that is no longer your concern. You are not here to beg for alignment. You are here to become the alignment. You are not here to convince people of your worth. You are here to remember that your worth is a decision already made by God, and nothing they do or don't do can change that. This next chapter is not about catching up. It is about catching fire. This is where the whispers become roars. This is where the one they overlooked becomes the one they must consult. This is where the one they left behind becomes the one who leads forward. And it is not revenge. It is not pride. It is prophecy. It is purpose. It is fulfillment. It is the return of the one they forgot. Now crowned with clarity. Now clothed in wisdom. Now covered in divine fire that cannot be touched by envy, by rumour, by rejection, or by delay. You were not designed to be liked. You were designed to be legendary. And now the legend begins. Not with noise, but with knowing. Not with applause, but with alignment. Not with performance, but with presence. Not with permission, but with power. Chosen one, the unveiling has begun. They will not just see your face. They will feel your frequency. They will not just hear your words. They will remember your vibration. They will not just observe your success. They will be transformed by your essence. And all of this will happen because you were faithful when no one was watching. Because you kept showing up in rooms that didn't see you and still served with excellence. Because you kept loving people who could not love you back. Because you trusted the invisible timeline of heaven, even when your physical timeline was filled with silence. And because you chose not to give up, not to collapse, not to become bitter, you chose to become better. And now the reward is not just wealth, not just recognition, not just promotion. The reward is becoming who you are always meant to be. And that chosen one is the real breakthrough. That is the arrival. That is the shift. That is the sound of divine justice. Let the world see you now, not to impress them, but to bless them with the real you. Because you have been hidden long enough. And now everything must change. It is no coincidence that your emergence is happening now in a time when confusion runs rampant, when identity is being diluted, when the noise of the world has grown louder than the whispers of the soul. Because this precise moment of global disarray, of personal doubt and collective fear, is the very environment into which you are always meant to rise. Your presence is not just timely. It is necessary. It is not just symbolic. It is strategic. The unveiling of your purpose is not random. It is divine architecture. For too long, the world has been intoxicated by imitation, enamored with spectacle, distracted by false light. And yet, even in all that noise, there has remained a quiet hunger in the human heart for something real, something anchored, something sacred that will not fade with trend or time. And that something is you. You are not just a person stepping into visibility. You are a frequency being released into the atmosphere. You are a living remedy, a walking rebalance, a realignment of heaven's order inside the chaos of a world that forgot how to see clearly. Your existence, fully seen and fully alive, becomes a blueprint for those who are ready to stop pretending, to stop surviving, and to finally start becoming. You are what many have been silently praying to find, not in the sense of idolization, but in the sense of identification. When they see you, chosen one, they will find themselves. When they hear your story, they will begin to believe that maybe, just maybe, theirs matters too. And that is why the enemy tried so hard to convince you that your voice didn't matter, that your visibility was a threat, that your time had passed. Because if he could keep you hidden, he could keep others asleep. But now the veil has torn and the truth is marching in. You've crossed into the part of your journey where apologies expire, where over-explaining is no longer required, where begging for belief is a thing of the past. You are not standing on trial anymore. You are standing in testimony. You are not trying to convince anyone that you are worthy. You are now embodying what worthiness looks like in human form. And those who still need convincing were never your audience to begin with. Because when God lifts the curtain, he does not require permission from the crowd. When heaven says it is time, even locked doors become windows. Even resistance becomes momentum. Even enemies become witnesses to your rising. Not because they chose to believe, but because they were chosen to see. And as you rise, chosen one, let it be known. You do not rise with arrogance, but with awareness. You do not rise with revenge, but with revelation. You do not rise to prove anything, but to fulfill everything. The stage you now stand on is not a place to perform, but a platform to radiate what was cultivated in secret. The stage is not the reward, it is the responsibility, because being seen, truly seen, does not come without weight. It carries with it the eyes of the curious, the hearts of the hungry, and sometimes even the projections of the threatened. But none of that can touch you now, because what has been sealed in you is greater than what surrounds you. You are rooted, you are grounded, and you are protected by the very voice that called you forward in the first place. And that voice still speaks. That voice still guides. That voice still covers you even now in this very moment, as your name begins to reach the ears of people you've never met, as your influence begins to spill into spaces you never thought you'd touch, as your presence begins to fill atmospheres with healing, with truth, with unmistakable light. Not because you are trying to make it happen, but because you have finally become it. You are not chasing your calling. You are carrying it. You are not searching for your destiny. You are standing in it. And it fits you, doesn't it? Even after all the doubt, all the delay, all the dismantling of who you once were, it fits like it was always waiting for you to grow into it. Like it was always silently watching, cheering you on, whispering, keep going. We're almost there. And now you are here. Not by accident, not by manipulation, not by chance, but by alignment. Let that settle into your spirit. You did not force this. You flowed into it. You did not fabricate this moment. You were fashioned for it. Every step you took, even the ones that felt like failure, were calibrated to carry you here. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every lonely night and quiet cry, they were chapters in the sacred manuscript of your becoming. And now the pages are turning, the spotlight is shifting, and the narrative is no longer what they said about you. It's what God is doing through you. You were never forgotten. You were never too late. You were never too broken. You were never too much. You were just in the wilderness of refinement, where only the brave are allowed to go. And you emerged from that wilderness, not with bitterness, but with brilliance, not with shame, but with strategy, not with vengeance, but with vision, a vision that transcends trends, a vision that defies logic, a vision that shakes the ground beneath systems that tried to define your destiny. And now you walk with knowing, with depth, with clarity. You do not have to shout. Your silence has already spoken. You do not have to defend. Your presence is your protection. You do not have to run. What belongs to you is being magnetized toward you. And what no longer serves you will fall away without resistance, because heaven is no longer allowing clutter to walk with the chosen. This is your time to move with intention, to rise with precision, to glow with no apology, to speak with no fear, to walk into rooms not looking for approval, but ready to unlock purpose for others simply by being who you are. Because, chosen one, now that the world sees you, they must decide what they'll do with what they see. Some will align, some will question, some will bow, some will resist. But it doesn't matter. You are not responsible for their response. You are responsible for your obedience. And your obedience is the earthquake that will shift destinies. It is your obedience that will break generational patterns. It is your obedience that will light the fire in someone else who's still hiding, still doubting, still wondering if they'll ever be brave enough to step forward. So stand firm. Speak boldly. Rise fully. You are not behind. You are not invisible. You are not delayed. You are the very event that the atmosphere has been waiting for. You are the signal, the sign, the sound, the shift. You are what prophecy looks like when it becomes flesh. You are what divine timing looks like when it arrives wearing skin and walking on fire. And no weapon formed against you can stop what has already been written. Let the world adjust their lenses. Let them recalibrate their language. Let them learn to speak your name with reverence, because this is not a glow-up. This is not a comeback. This is a coronation, and you, chosen one, have arrived. There comes a moment in every divinely assigned life where the world, despite its previous blindness, must recalibrate its gaze, not because the person standing before them has suddenly become someone new, but because their eyes have finally evolved to see what was always there, veiled by time, guarded by heaven, hidden in plain sight for the protection of purpose. Chosen one, this is that moment. And you are the one they must now reckon with, not in confrontation, but in clarity. You are never seeking their attention, never performing for applause, never desperate to be known, because your knowing came from the inside. What they are witnessing now is not your creation. It is your release. You are not rising to be celebrated. You are rising because the divine blueprint demands manifestation, and no force can prevent what heaven has scheduled. Let it be clear, this moment did not find you randomly, and it did not arrive uninvited. You summoned it, not with noise, but with alignment, not with manipulation, but with mastery. The very vibration of your inner truth called this moment forward. The echoes of your obedience summoned circumstances into divine orchestration. While others were chasing platforms, you were building altars. While others were mimicking noise, you were mastering silence. And now the harvest is here. Not because you hustled harder, but because you healed deeper. And that healing has made you magnetic. That healing has made you ready. That healing has made you whole enough to be seen, truly seen, without flinching, without folding, without fearing what visibility might expose. And yes, there will be those who look at you now and pretend they never doubted you. Some will act as if they always saw your greatness. Others will come with flatteries disguised as congratulations. But do not be shaken. You are not here to hold grudges. You are here to hold gates open for those who are truly assigned to walk beside you. Let your discernment remain sharp. Let your focus remain steady, because the visibility you now carry is not casual. It is covenantal. It is the kind of visibility that reshapes environments. It is the kind that makes people whisper your name in rooms you've never entered and align with your energy even before your presence is fully announced. And it's not because of who you know, it's because of what you carry.